If you've been hanging around the design internet community lately, you might have heard that LinkedIn is super, super strong right now, and people are doing crazy stuff and finding tons of clients on LinkedIn. Now, on today's video, I'm talking to Josh, who's a very impressive 18-year-old who's found a way to consistently find great clients on LinkedIn, and he's going to tell us how he's been doing it. So this is going to be very cool and interesting conversation. You might want to listen to that. Personally, I don't have much experience with LinkedIn, which is why I'm so fascinated about it. So I will be creating more content on LinkedIn on the channel soon. So if you're not subscribed yet, it might be a good chance to subscribe right now because more awesome LinkedIn and finding clients content is coming to this channel. Let's rock and roll. Hey Josh, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to me. I'll give a little bit of context to our call today. So Josh is a student in one of my courses, and he posted a message on Facebook that he had major successes in finding clients through LinkedIn. And since I don't have personally a lot of experience with LinkedIn, I was super intrigued, specifically when he mentioned very impressive numbers. So Josh, let's start by you sharing what you've shared with me, and then we'll dive deep into your story, which is super impressive, and understand how you did this.
Yeah, so over the past several months, for the past several years, I've ran a marketing agency where I was doing branding and marketing and web design. And during the summer, I realized that there is definitely a need to automate more processes and make more out of my business. So in the time, I decided to niche down my agency and try to automate the leads coming in. So I wouldn't have to spend time worrying about clients. I could just service the client work. And over this time, I eventually kind of came across LinkedIn, and I started running a LinkedIn outbound prospecting campaign. And since then, we only started running it about a month and a half ago, and I've already landed multiple clients through it, all 10 times what I used to charge.
Okay, so to share the numbers, I think the numbers are
Yeah,
super
yeah, for
impressive.
sure. So yeah, I completely understand. So in the summer, I was selling websites for anywhere between $400 to $1,500. And the first website I closed through LinkedIn was for $4,000. And then after that, there was another $5,000 project. And hopefully I'll actually be able to, by next week, close a $10,000 project.
Nice. Great success. And you're only 18.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's incredible. So I want to understand. It sounds like the dream of every creative person, just, hey, I want to focus on the design. I want to focus on servicing the client. I don't want to deal with all these leads and stuff like that. And when you hear the words automation and stuff like that, it sounds really intriguing. So can you share a little bit about what it is? How does that work? Like for me, I'm
Yeah.
a complete newbie on LinkedIn. Teach me the stuff.
Yeah, so the important part isn't even necessarily the LinkedIn itself. It's just having a very specific sales message. So when I'm on LinkedIn, it is very important that I know exactly who I'm serving, what their problem is, and how I'm solving it. I can't just be a web design agency messaging people saying, hey, I build websites and our websites are really good. Our outbounding is extremely targeted. So we hire another agency to do this for us, but overseeing it will target a ton of.
Can you explain what you mean by outbounding? Is this reaching out people cold or?
Yeah, so outbound prospecting to me is essentially you qualify and find a lead that is relevant, and then you start sending them messages or call them, etc. So for us, there's a back end kind of machine that is finding lookalikes to people in the SaaS industry and people that
Okay,
are.
so can you explain, before we dive deep, can you explain what your niche is, how you
Okay,
came,
yeah, for sure.
how did you came to choose it, and how do you know what the right messaging is to reach out to those people?
Yeah, so in the summer, I had no idea what my niche was going to be, but what I did understand was that my main current problem was that business owners didn't understand the value of the websites I was building them. So the quickest way to combat this for me was to service an industry where if I made a 10% difference in their website, it would affect their bottom line 10% because their revenue is actually going through their website. And that was huge for me. So I decided I would go into the SaaS slash B2B niche.
Got it. SaaS is software as a service for the people outside maybe the tech realm. But I think this is really smart because the general premise around value pricing is, as you said, oh, if I can improve your website 10% and you're making $1 million, 10% is $100,000, it makes sense to invest.
Yeah.
But most designers don't work with clients maybe that it's very specific or it's easy to understand them. So it's really smart to to choose the SaaS niche. Okay, so now that you understand that, how did you pick the right message? Was the right message will improve conversions 10%?
Yeah, so this was a recommendation to me, and it was to come up with a proprietary formula. So, what this proprietary formula is as I tried to come up with a metric that makes perfect sense for SaaS companies. So, the obvious one to go to was MRR.
Right.
So, we have
Monthly
our,
recurring revenue.
yeah,
Right.
so monthly recurring revenue. So, we have a proprietary MRR formula. And what this MRR formula is it's market segmentation, result driven messaging, and reinforce for conversion.
Oh wow, sounds very impressive. Who gave you the advice to do that, to come up with something proprietary?
This was actually the LinkedIn guy. He told me that, yeah, so I've had my LinkedIn coach, he's been coaching me along this whole time, making sure that all of my efforts are being optimized. And he said, when you have a proprietary system, people are very interested in understanding how it works. And the important part is that you have a process. It's not like you're working with somebody and it's essentially to take the risk out of the situation. They know you have a process. This isn't our MRR growth formula. Obviously, they want to tap into that.
Okay, question, which I'm sure a lot of the people in the comments are going to say. When you started out, did you already have proof that this worked? Did you already had kind of portfolio, or you just said, okay, I'm going to go into the SaaS niche? How do you get started in finding the first one?
So this was something I had to think about for a while because I wanted to make sure when I went into these calls, I wasn't screwing it up. And what I did was essentially, I would say we have provided great results for our clients in the past. We have helped our clients achieve a variety of different results in different industries, and I'd be happy to show you what we've done for them and how we can apply similar concepts to your business.
So you just said something general without giving specific
So in that
examples?
case, I would actually give them websites. So I have built websites in the past, just not with my MRR formula and not with
Got
SaaS
it.
companies. So I
Got it.
can say, look, here's this agency that we built a website for, and they're looking to increase their discovery call sign up rate. Look at this website. There's these beautiful interactions, etc. We can create something even better for you. And in a lot of scenarios, they didn't even really ask for portfolio. Some people did, but a lot of people didn't.
Ah, really interesting. Okay, so it's really interesting. I'm going. I know I'm going in a lot of different direction, but we'll get back to the story. But I'm really curious because, you are 18. You're in one of my courses, but now you've also mentioned that you have a LinkedIn coach, which is something really interesting. How did you make that decision to start working with a LinkedIn coach? Why would you think it's something that could work for you or worth investing?
Yeah, so I decided that there was essentially nothing more important to me than automating out certain parts of my business. So I'd been running and doing web design for multiple years, and it felt like it was so insanely impossible to scale my business. It felt like I was working harder than anybody else. I was coming up with better ideas than anybody else, and I was making less than everybody else. And the
Oh
reason
man,
was because
I think so many designers feel that way, man.
yeah, and I think the reason was is because I had too many things to do. I couldn't do anything at an extremely high level because I had to do everything. So
Right.
I decided if I was able to reduce all of the time of me thinking about having to land clients, and I knew I could just focus on the product and delivering the best result. If my LinkedIn guy, if he was able to bring me one client a month, that's $10,000 a month, and I'm okay with that. That would seem like a successful investment to me.
And
So
it
I
did work
so
out.
so yeah,
Nice.
exactly. So I put a ton of time
But
and
okay,
energy. Yeah,
I want to dive deeper into that.
yeah.
First of all, I like your how you're thinking about stuff and investing. It's very smart, I think. However, I do think there's a lot of people around the internet running around saying, "Oh, Facebook ads is the thing for you. LinkedIn is the thing for you. Grow your Instagram is the thing for you." So there's a lot of offers, and I'm interested in why you decided on LinkedIn.
So with Facebook paid ads, so I previously had a partner in my business. He is actually running Facebook paid ads for his social media marketing agency every day. His schedule is completely booked with calls. But the reason why I didn't take that route initially, I plan on running Facebook ads, but I didn't because I don't have enough case studies. I realized because Facebook is significantly more automated, they'll be being sent to a video sales letter where I'm explaining more about what I do. It's really important that I've got good case studies and that the case studies really are wow case studies. But with LinkedIn, because there's more face to face, it's more conversational. They don't even realize that this whole system is automated. Um, it's much easier to sell people than when it's automated through Facebook without those case studies.
Okay. So LinkedIn you feel is a little bit more high touch and maybe a good place to get started on.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think you can have good convert in the same way. It's kind of like networking in a sense. When you show up to networking in person, which is how I used to generate all of my business, you're able to develop relationships with people, and that trust is built through things other than your case study.
Dude, you're 18. When are you going to networking events and usually get I mean, that's super impressive.
Yeah, I started going to networking events when I was 15, so I would always be the youngest guy in the room by 30 years.
That's incredible. What would you do when you go to these events?
Yeah, so I would just go to relevant digital marketing events, and essentially I'd walk in with all of my anxiety built up inside me, not knowing what to say, and I just kind of start throwing myself in circles and asking who people were and what they did and what brought them there, and eventually that worked enough times that I had a business.
Nice, nice. Very impressive. Okay, so let's get back into the LinkedIn. So your first step was to start working with a LinkedIn coach who kind of directed you, helped you craft the right message and find your niche. What was the next step? You talked about automation. Did you went right ahead for trying to automate the process or did you do it manually at some point?
So first thing I dealt with was I had my coach, I talked to him, we developed our strategy, we understood what we kind of needed going forward, and we went straight into the messaging. So the messaging was really important. So the way it starts off is we'll start off in the sequence with, hey, great to connect, just looking to grow our network. And then the second message is, thanks for connect, like really happy we connected. I just wanted to personally introduce myself. And this is the day after. So in this point, I'll say, I'm Josh and I help SaaS companies increase their MRR, etc. And then after that, 7 days later, if they don't answer, hey, I never heard back. Are you looking to do this, this, that? And that's the sequence.
And that is being automated. So the process is there's some kind of an algorithm that is looking for the right fit, which is for you, SaaS companies. Is it after a certain stage? like after they raised a bunch of money or making?
Yeah,
How do you know?
so the only thing I don't have too much information on is the exact targeting, but what I'm very familiar with is in Sales Navigators, there's tons of CRMs where you can go in and just as long as you've determined who your kind of target audience is, you can really just start sending out these messages daily automated to your ideal client.
So, is this an automated software or people who are doing this for you? You say you worked with an
So
agency.
it's
How
a
does that
mix of
work?
both. So it's a mix of both. The part that is automated is the connection requests being sent. So that's how the whole initiation happens. It's a connection request with a message. And then the where a person comes in is I don't book any of the meetings. So when a person responds, typically you would have to, oh, talk to him, want to get on this 15-minute discovery call. How do these times work? My guy, he handles all of that, so I don't have to deal with any of
So you
booking
have a
appointments.
person doing that, but live, really
Yeah,
actually
live. He
talking to people.
actually
Okay.
goes in and books the appointments to my
Okay. But then
calendar.
you go on the appointments, right?
Yeah,
You do the
so the only
appointments?
thing I have to do is look at my calendar in the morning and see if I've got any appointments and then show up to them.
Got it. And you have no context, or he puts some context about the company and something that do you have to do a
I'm
research
currently
for?
in the midst of trying to, so because I don't have a case study, I can't push as hard on them before I'm on the actual call. So, for example, I'd like to ask more prospecting questions prior to my discovery call, but I don't want to overwhelm them or scare them or lower the amount of calls coming through without that case study, without people fully understanding what I do going into the call. Because a lot of people going into the call are just like, oh, what's your MRR formula? Or oh, I'd like to learn more about this. And having a little, if they were more intent based, that would definitely improve the results of my searches right now.
Got it. So is this a company that offers this as a service? Like, hey, look, we're gonna, automate or send messages or manage your LinkedIn DMs, and you're gonna get X amount of calls per month.
Yeah,
You
I just pay them on a monthly retainer. I pay them on a monthly retainer, and they just send me the traffic every month.
and
I know.
how many calls are you doing per week per month?
I probably had, I would say in the first month, at least 20 calls, I would say. I probably had about 20
Nice.
calls.
Per month.
Yeah, per month.
Yeah. Wow. It's like almost one every day.
Yeah. And I think that I could scale that up and improve that number if I improved my messaging and refined my messaging a little bit. Because this is also, this is without any refining either. This is just me going in and pushing it, and this is what came of it. I still have to do a whole round of refining and really improve and maximize this machine.
This is really, really interesting. I remember about a year ago, I think, when I was still debating if to scale my freelance business or no, a company reached out to me with basically this offer, and I was really intrigued by it. I ended up not doing this, but I'm so happy to hear from you that it works because essentially it's like you said, I'm outsourcing the kind of the lead acquisition for my business, and I have leads automatically coming in on a sustainable or predictable base. Um, the question is, do you think you'll be able to scale this or maintain this long term? What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. So I 100% believe that with my current resources, I can scale this to $50,000 a month. I
Oh
see,
wow, that's incredible.
yeah, because the way everything's set up is if I can land 5 clients a month through whether that be through Facebook advertising, LinkedIn, whatever, I only spend less than 10 hours a project between strategy and project management. So all the other work is being outsourced anyways.
Oh, so you don't do the design yourself. You outsource the design and development. You do the strategy and the basically the management of the project.
Yeah, so I've been through the Webflow masterclass, although I know how to build Webflow websites and I do internally, um, I know where my strengths are and I know that there's better designers in the world than me. So I just want to max out my time and where I can profit the most from my time.
Yeah, that's great. So, so you have been in the Webflow Masterclass or the $10,000 website process. You've been through
Both.
both. Yeah,
Yeah.
and have you found like what was? So you said Webflow is cool, but you're not going to end up building the website yourself. How about the process for the web design? Has that been
So yeah,
helpful in the
so
way that you work?
oh, for sure. So the 10K web design process, this fell into my hands in the summer. So this was when I saw this, this was kind of my realizing of I'm not charging enough for my websites. I know that I'm able to provide value. I know I understand branding pretty well. I need to be able to pull everything in and hone in what people really care about and what people are really spending lots of money on because for the longest time when I first got into this whole web design industry, I was always looking, oh, how much are other people charging? And I'm looking at myself like, okay, $500,000, and then I look on these websites and they'd say agencies typically charge from like $10,000 to $100,000, and I'm like, what? How is this possible? So I was like, I wanted to really break down why people spend so much money on websites and where that value is. And I think the 10K web design process really helped lay that out for me.
Nice. I'm happy to hear. And by the way, so you're based in Canada, right?
Yeah,
And
Toronto, Canada.
are in Toronto? What a
Yeah,
great city. Are you freezing right now?
yes.
Are, are you underground? um, so are you only working with local customers in Canada or in Toronto? How are you, or it doesn't matter because you work
Not a
remotely.
single one of the clients I've closed through LinkedIn have been local. They've all actually been in the States, which has coincidentally also raised my prices another 30% because of the conversion rate. But
Amazing.
yeah, so it all completely remote. Yeah, there's maybe a couple clients I have in person, but
How do you find managing the process, specifically doing strategy remotely?
um, I think I think it's important that as long as the process is very concrete and that there's like the way I used to build websites where it's like, oh, I'd gather all the content and then we kind of talk about strategy a little bit and then kind of start diving into it and then go back and forth. That would be a little bit messy remote. But because everything I do is in phases, I know exactly what's being done and when. We've got this meeting after 1 week of research. We've got this discovery call meeting. We've got this strategy session. It's pretty manageable.
All right. I want to go back into LinkedIn, and I think you're a really smart young man and really thoughtful about how you build your business. So, my question is, are you not afraid that you kind of outsource maybe actually a core part of your business, which is how you find clients? I mean, let's say this agency or like the people who help you right now, they go away. Are you going to be stuck without a business right now?
Yeah, so I think when I first started in web design, the goal was always to be able to do slightly higher level tasks where I wasn't spending all day building websites. But I understood that for me to be the best at what I do and be able to understand the inner workings of everything, I needed to be able to do it myself. So I've learned everything to a degree that essentially I can create anything. I just can't do it very efficiently. Like it might take me 3 hours to figure out an interaction, but I can figure it out. So when I'm working with a designer, I'm not putting 100% of my trust in them because if they mess up, first off, there's a lot of trust because we go through wireframes before we go into the Webflow build, which is a really big portion of not messing that up. And then secondly, because I know how to use Webflow, I'm selling to the client essentially a trust seal. So they know because they're working with me that they're going to get the best service. So regardless of who builds the website, I just have to approve it and make sure that everything is good before it gets to them.
Yeah, but I want to go back specifically back to the let's say client acquisition strategy that you have there.
Yeah.
Um, are you not afraid? Now we're going to be talking about this, and like I guess I hope some people's brains are going to explode like mine did when I heard about it. Like, dude, I got to do that myself. Now, if everybody's understand how this goes, if everybody understand, hey, let's target like SaaS companies, startup companies that are making a lot of money, let's pitch them on LinkedIn. um, isn't that going to create noise or make your life harder? I mean, is it not going to be very crowded on LinkedIn very, very fast?
I think that there is a possibility of that happening. I think that I've had calls with people who have said, "Oh, we've had 5 people call us already," or something like that. The thing is there's already a million web design agencies. So what's the difference between my SaaS business and their web design agency? And the purpose is being able to come at an angle that you're actually providing a better solution than other people. So if everybody gets on and everybody's doing SaaS, then maybe you have to do put more emphasis into content marketing to position yourself in a way that people view you differently than the average person coming in, or understand the kind of negative things that would come along with the industry becoming more saturated, and how to talk to the client in a way that reassures them that there's going to be no problem in working with you. Obviously, there's good service providers, bad service providers, etc.
Awesome. All right, Josh, I want to wrap up the call. So I just, can you give, I mean, I know so many people in the audience are just starting out and maybe they're not your age, but they're at the position. Probably where have you been? Maybe just in the summer where they're doing projects for not enough money. What is the kind of great insight or tip that you can give them that will help them make the leap that you have done?
Know exactly what you are solving for the business. And it's by far the most important, whether that be you niching down or whatever, just understanding exactly what your service does for the end user. Because if you understand exactly what your selling point and that it's a no-brainer to work with you. It doesn't matter if it's $5,000, $10,000. If they're a business that's doing at least several $100,000, this is extremely, extremely important to them, and it can cause like the biggest problem in their business if they don't fix it. And if you don't understand what that problem is that you're fixing and how you're solving it, then you're going to have a very tough time selling yourself.
Is there something that helped you understand better? What are you what is your selling point? Some resource or something that helped you focus?
Um, I think the biggest thing was niching down, understanding that I'm helping SaaS clients, and then just if you've gone through the 10K web design course, you understand the different kind of key performance indicators that different clients could have, and just understanding how to reach them within that niche.
Awesome. All right, Josh, congrats on your success so far. It's really, really impressive. And thank you for sharing all that super useful information.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Good luck in the upcoming year.
Thank you so much.